Hey everyone, Josh Pyatt here. I'm joined again today by Shane Sullivan from LJ Hooker in Drummoyne. Shane, thanks for joining me. Now in the last video we spoke about the journey you've had from starting out at the front desk to now becoming obviously a great agent and a business owner. I want to move away from that and just talk a little bit about, I guess, the fundamentals of being an agent. And the first question I've got is, what are the three most important things in your mind, your opinion, for any agent to be successful?
Look, I think first of all you've got to be hungry. You've really got to want to do the work and really chase up every lead that you can. And I think that comes across when you are dealing with potential vendors, that if they know that you're hungry and you're working hard for them, that they're going to want to list with you and list with your energy. So I think being hungry is the first one. Look, being a professional negotiator is actually what we do, and it's what we're paid to do. So if you don't know how to negotiate, you need to learn and learn really quickly. So I think that's definitely a big part in if you're able to negotiate really well, then you'll be able to give really good advice to your vendors, and that's what's going to make a big difference from you making average sales to making great sales and actually getting it sold. So the market's going to start to really sort of tighten up. You need to be able to negotiate and get deals done. And the third thing that I would say was maybe just to be real. Like you are a real human being. I think the industry gets a little bit lost sometimes with real estate agents being maybe not themselves or having this idea built up of what real estate is all about. It's just about being real, hard work. You're there to work for someone. You've got their biggest asset that they own in your hands. So just be real and work hard.
Yeah, I like the fact you said be real. Like, I'm a big believer that people, like obviously the consumer and the customer out there, people want to deal with people first, agents second. Correct. What's your idea on that?
Absolutely. You know, they don't want to deal with someone who gives the same average responses and the premeditated responses that most real estate agents have. They want to deal with a person that they can like and that they can trust. So it's really important to build that rapport up as quick as you can to make sure that they enjoy working with you.
Yeah. And just give us an idea of like a few rituals that you have, so things, dollar productive things that you do on a daily basis.
So obviously prospecting is the number one goal, and everyone understands that. And it's something that, you know, when I was younger, it was probably, I had the scattergun approach and trying to speak to as many people as I can. Nowadays it's more about hitting the finer points and hitting those warm to hot people that are looking to transact. So they're either a buyer who's already had 2 inspections, they've asked for a contract and that are ready to make offers or bid at an auction, or it's people who are looking to sell who have already had a few agents out and they're listing in the next 30 days. Yeah,
so obviously that I presume that when you're an assistant you started out more on the sort of the colder to warmer things. And now that obviously you're advancing your career, you're focusing on all the hot stuff.
Yeah, that's right. So look, I'm lucky enough where I don't have to concentrate on the colder stuff anymore, and that's what I have my assistant doing at the moment. Where I get to just, as you said, dollar productive, is that I'm making, you know, it might not be as many calls anymore, but the calls that I'm making are hot ones and they're important, and they're going to make the dollars.
They're going to do your business. Right. Yeah, perfect. Okay. So just give me an idea of your prospecting methods and what your lead sources are.
So look, the 2 big ones are obviously you're open for inspections and your inquiries that are sent through. So obviously everyone gets a follow-up call once they've seen the property on the Monday morning. If I'm not able to touch base with them, they get another follow-up call on the Tuesday. Obviously people who are coming through an open house, they're in real estate mode, and it's going to be a lot easier for you to identify whether they do have something to sell. In the markets that I work in, where the average selling price is hangs around that 2 million mark, there's normally a lot of trade-ups. So I understand that most people who are coming from open homes will have to sell something to be able to get into the next one. The next one would be the inquiries. Look, the inquiries I think are a little bit of untapped resource, because when someone leaves a mobile number with the inquiry, I see that as a bit of permission to say, hey, you can give me a call. I think a lot of the time agents are reluctant to make contact with those inquiries because they may feel some type of rejection or they won't want to talk to them. It's basically a free pass to say, hey, give me a call. I'm in the market, let's have a chat.
That's right. Well, I mean, as everyone knows, it's optional to leave a phone number through a real estate or domain.
That's right,
So the people that do, they basically say, hey, it's all right to give me a ring. And how many hours a day do you say that you spend prospecting on average?
Look, you'd like to say that you spend all day prospecting, but if we're talking about sort of hard numbers in terms of really hitting the phones, it's anywhere between sort of 2 hours a day, maybe up to 3. But as I said before, I'm really focusing on the people that are looking at transacting and doing business now, and it's not the case of sort of getting out, 80 to 100 and 150 calls. It's about taking the time with the people that I'm chatting to really build rapport and work out what their motivations are, why they're making a move, and if they do have something else to sell.
So Shane, let's say that you speak to someone and you identify that they own a property in your marketplace, but they tell you they're not selling for like 5 or 10 years. What do you actually do? Like, I guess, what's your plan of attack around that when someone tells you that they're not going to be selling for such a long time?
Look, I definitely don't discard them, and they're actually quite important for your future pipeline. So I make sure that I do put them, I have a different category for those kind of people within my database. They don't get contacted all the time. They might get contacted 6 monthly or maybe even just once a year, just to check in to see how their year was, what they thought of real estate at the time. And then I would also send them probably a quarterly market update, maybe through the post or via email every quarter.
And I know that you're a big believer that when someone does tell you they're not selling for a long time, you still push to get into the door, even if it's just for 5, 10, 15 minutes, to build that extra little bit of rapport from the get-go?
Absolutely. So it's great so that they know if they have any real estate questions throughout the 12 months, or they've got any friends or family, or because they can become key referrers. So if I can get in the door for 5 or 10 minutes, establish that great rapport, hopefully I'd like to be the guy that they'll go to if they have any questions throughout the year about real estate.
So Shane, you told me before that you focus on more of the warm to the hot stuff. Just tell me a little bit about how you and your assistant work together when it comes to prospecting and, I guess, uncovering any potential leads out there in the market.
Yeah, so as I said before, I deal with a lot of the people who want to transact probably within the next sort of 30 to 60 days. I've then got an assistant who does a lot of the colder stuff, so your cold calling, email inquiries, things like that, that he will then notify whether they are a potential seller or whether they are an active buyer. So I guess it's just sorting through everything to make sure that we don't leak. It's really important that when I originally started, I'll admit I did leak a few leads, because you've just got so much going on that you don't sort of tend to cover all bases. So it's really important now that when you've got extra help, that you do cover all bases and make sure that nothing gets leaked. So whether it's an inquiry, whether it's doing your just listed or just sold calls throughout the street, your door knocking, making sure you've got everything covered. And that's what I need help with, because I can't do it all, and I don't think anyone can do it all. So his role is to do all the colder stuff leading up to when people are ready to transact. Then I'll sort of take over and guide them through that process.
So I guess he starts at the bottom and warms them up a little bit, and then you take over when they get to that warm stage. And then And does he actually go out to appointments with you and get involved in the relationship building and the rapport making and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so look, if my assistant does manage to book an appraisal or a listing appointment, I definitely bring him with me, because he's the one who has the initial rapport with those people. So there's no use him on the phone, getting to the point, getting them all ready to have an appointment, and then I get there and they're expecting him, okay? But it's definitely important that I turn up, because, it's my role to come in and actually, identify whether they are just seeking an update on what their house is worth, whether they are actually looking to sell.
Sure, and I think that's where I guess a lot of agents and assistants can probably do a little bit better, where I know a lot of assistants, all they'll do is they'll just sit on the phones, try and generate an appraisal, and they get appraisal, which is great, but then when they turn up to the front door, it's like someone completely different.
And it's a bit unfulfilling. Look, it's really hard for a younger agent to sit there staring at the wall, making 100 calls a day. When they do get a little win, it's really important that you reward them by letting them come along to the appointment. And obviously they're going to learn about the process and how to appraise, and it's your role and it's your job to be able to get them as soon as you can to a level where they can help you list and they can help you sell.
Shane, thanks for joining me. So there you have it. There's a couple of other tips and insights from Shane Sullivan. I hope you've taken a few things out of it, and I'll see you again next month.